Okay, so scatter plots and line of best fits. As you can tell at your paper, a scatter plot is an X and Y axis, but there's a whole bunch of dots just scattered all over. That's where it gets the name scatter plots. Now, there's some names that always go with scatter plots that you need to know. A positive correlation. Positive correlation means that it's going to be increasing. And increasing looks like you start from the bottom and you get bigger as you go up. So it's like climbing a mountain, okay? You're going to get bigger as you go. A negative correlation, that is decreasing. Like when you're sliding down a hill, when water is draining out of a tub, that means you start up high and you go low. That is a negative correlation. And then there's no correlation. No correlation means it is all over the place. So no correlations means you have dots all over. Okay, they're all over they can't even form into a line at all. Now, it won't make a straight line, but you just kind of have a general what happens. Okay? So in each one, we're going to decide if it's positive, negative, or neither, and we're going to describe its meaning in the situation. Okay? So look at number 1. Now, number 1, I have some dots that notice they start here at the bottom, and generally they move this direction. So they started low and they went high. So this would be a positive correlation. Okay, so this one is positive. And another word that you will see is increasing. I want you to get both of those together, positive and increasing. Now, what does that mean? So if I were to look at some of these points, and I just want you to plot some of them so you see what I'm talking about. Some of the points, you had like 10 and maybe that was 80. And then over here, let's find another good one that was close. Now, it's not going to be exact, but it's going to be close. So like 30 was close to 200. Okay? And then let's keep going. Let's find this one. What's close to 40? 40 was close to 400. Now, I know they're not exact, but it kind of gives you in that little cluster. And then you have something around close to 50 was about 400. Okay? So they were close, but there's also one up here, 500. So, I mean, you could have gone up higher. But what do you notice? Okay? What do you notice? I started at 10 and I went to 50. These got bigger, right? And so these increased. I went from 80, that's where I started, and I went to 500. I got bigger. So that's also an increase. Now, so the description, you're going to use the labels. The X column, this is always your X. The bottom is always your X. So that was minutes. And your Y is always the vertical on the side, and that was calories. So I'm going to say as the minutes, and what did the minutes do? They increased. As the minutes increased, they got bigger. The calories, what the calories do, the calories also increased. Okay, so if you want to use your highlighter so you can see which ones I used. Minutes increased. So as the minutes increased, then over here, calories increased. Calories increased. Okay, that's what I did. On the next one, now on the next one, look, I can't make a line. They are all over the place. If they are all over, there is no correlation. And if there is no correlation, then you cannot write a description. Okay, so that is no correlation. They're scattered all over the place. Number 3. Now, they're kind of tight together, and it looks like I'm starting up high, and generally they are moving down. Okay, you always start from the left and you go to the right. So since this is moving down, like think about your little snowboarder who's going downhill, okay? He's going downhill, so this is decreasing. And what was the word that went with decreasing? Negative. This is a negative correlation. And just like that would have a negative slope. So it's a negative correlation. Okay? And that's how you can remember that. Decreasing is negative. So that'd be a negative slope. So look at some points. Okay? My first one, like 2014. And then with 40, that was close to 10. 60 was about 9. 80 was 5. And 100 was 3. Okay, that's enough so you can see what's going on. Now, what happened? Remember, X is always on the bottom. So this was my weight in pounds. Okay, so this was your weight in pounds. And then the Y was the repetitions. Okay, so what happened to my numbers? I started at 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. I got bigger. If you get bigger, it is an increase. Okay. On the right side, I started at 14, but I went to 10. Oh, I'm sorry, that was not 90, that was 9. My bad, sorry. So 14, 10, 9, 5, 3. I got smaller. So I went from 14 to 3, I got smaller, so that means it was a decrease, right? So remember what we did a while ago. I'm going to use the weight in pounds increase. So I'm going to say that first, okay? So my description, you always start with the x-axis as the weight, okay, as the person's weight. And what did the weight do? The weight increased. As the person's weight increased. And then you're going to write what happened with the Y. Okay, the repetitions. The repetitions okay, repetitions done. What happened to the repetitions? It decreased. Okay, so think about that. A person that gains weight, they're not as in good a shape, so they can't do as many weightlifting. So when they're in really good shape, they did, 40 to 20 each time, but as they gained weight, they weren't as physically fit, so they couldn't do as much, so it decreased. So as the person's weight increased, the repetitions done decreased, right? And remember, I just take the first column, weight increased, the weight increased, the X is always first, and then the Y is second, okay? And so you just take the label and tell me what it did. Okay, the last one, car dealership revenue. What happens here? Notice you always start from the left. I always start from this side over here. My dot is down here, and generally it is going up. So if it's going up, then this is increasing. And if it's increasing, the word that goes with increasing is positive. It is a positive correlation because the slope would be positive. Okay, so let's look at our values. So for your values for 1999, it was 3. For 2000, it was, looks like it's about 4. For 2001, it was 5. And so you can kind of predict 2005, I'm just picking some 7, and then 2006, it's about 8. Just enough to see. Now, the first column, remember X is always your bottom, so the year, what happened to my year? I went from 1999 to 2006, so I got bigger, so it was an increase. So I'm going to say as the years increased, that is from the X column. And then I'm going to take and do the Y column. Now remember, the Y is your vertical, it's the revenue. And what happened to my revenue? I went from 3 and 4, 5, 7, 8, that increased. So as the years increased, the revenue increased. So you're using the X column label and what happened to the Y column label and what happened. You know, did it increase or decrease? Number 5. Determine what relationship, if any, exists. So look, you always start on the left side. So look on the left side, my dot starts down low and it goes up. If it goes up, then it is increasing. And the word that we associate with increasing is positive. Because if it's an increasing, we are going to have a positive slope. Okay? Use the points 1998, 1360, and 2003, 1900 to write slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So I need to find slope, I need to find b. Okay? So it gave me 2 ordered pairs, so I'm going to make my table. The first ordered pair was 1998, and then 13.60, and then 2003 and 19.00. Very first thing, when you have 2 points and you want to find slope, you subtract. And so I would get 5 and 5.40 when I subtracted. Remember, the 5 4/10 goes on the top. Put that over 5, and when you divide, then you would get 1.08. Okay? So, my formula, and I'm going to write it over here so we have enough room. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to pick a point. I'm going to use the first point. Actually, I used the second one. I was looking at what I did. I used the second one. It doesn't matter which one you use. Okay, y was 19. You don't have to put 0.00 equals. My slope was 1.08. My x was 2003 plus b. Put that into insolve, and you get b equals negative 2,144 and 2400. So my equation then would be y equals 1.08x minus 2,144.24. And then I can graph it. And when I graph it, I can go down to 2009. Or you can plug in 2009 for x. So you can either graph it, or you can put 2009 in for x, and then you can go to insolve and solve it. And when you do that, then you would get 25 and 4800. That is my prediction. And people use this, they use math to make predictions so they can estimate what things will be as time goes on in the future using past information. And so the cost would be $25.48 based on the trend that we've seen the past couple of years.